Hey, Sláinte do Buckaroos. How the heck are you? Let me check this real quick and oops. Well, it's not working. Anyways, how the heck are you? I am Tom the Beer and Whiskey Whisperer, at least for the purposes of this video. There it is. Okay, let's fix that real quick. There we go. All right. So, how are you? I was trying to put together the beer whiskey pairing, but I wasn't sure what went best with complete societal breakdown. What should we drink with the death of our democracy? What would be the best pairing? Not having any cyanide, not having any cyanide or razor blades, not having any strychnine. What would pair best? There are a couple schools of thought going that anyway. I was thinking, you go real low end, right? PBR and some 10 high. I don't have either of those products here. Some PBR and some 10 high. Or do you go the other direction? I decided to go more the other direction, go more, not necessarily high end, because I'm not a high end kind of guy, but, towards that higher end, let's just say. But I decided to go with the beer that I feel is on the higher end, but maybe with a politically incorrect name. That might fit perfectly with complete societal failure. This is a beer that had a name so politically incorrect they had to change it. This is when it was still MILF. I think it was the last year of the MILF. This one is a 2018, so I've been sitting on this baby a minute, but I've got some very cold weather in the Ozarks, and of course, we're dealing through the stages of grief of the death of our democracy. 2018 vintage. Let me read a little bit to you here. With MILF, mother's devotion to depth, complexity borders on obsession. Flavors of roasted malt, chocolate, raisin mingle with a maturity imparted from 11 months in bourbon, rye, brandy, and rum barrels, topping out at 11%. So again, I want to make sure you see that so you know I'm not fibbing to you. It's a 2018. Oh, and I haven't popped it or done anything. I thought I'd do this one right in front of you. You can see me pop it and pour. We'll find out if she's lived. 7 years is a long time. A lot of experts will tell you shouldn't sit on it more than 5 years. Quite frankly, I didn't realize I still had it, if you want to know the truth. Pours nicely. Smells fine. So far, so good. No death yet. I actually didn't have this in the fridge, but I think my garage is colder than my fridge at this point. I haven't even chosen my whiskey pairing yet. As I'm looking around, I'm trying to find the best that I think will go with that. And again, I want to go more towards the side. I wanted to go more towards the higher end, but I want something that's going to stand up to this beer. So we got a beer that's been aged in a lot of stuff. So we've got a lot of flavor, a lot of complexity. So I need a whiskey that's going to stand up to it. So I think I'm going to go with my High Bank Distilling Midnight Cask Barrel Proof, a cask strength blend of straight whiskeys and port wine. This one is at 104.4 proof. So let's pour a little bit of that. And again, I'm pouring it right in front of you. So I haven't done anything. I haven't checked the nose. Here we go. Let's put a rather generous pour in there. Make sure we've got at least a double working anyway. Anyway, I want to pick that up using one of my dad's glasses. Actually, some these glasses. Gosh, I don't know how old they are. They got to be a minimum of 50. Jack Daniel's Gold Medal, old number 7. Dad sure liked his Daniels. But Jack Daniels isn't the same whiskey now that it was then. And they will tell you that they haven't changed the recipe, and that may be true. But they've added a lot of water, right? Back when Dad was drinking Jack Daniels, it was a 90 proof whiskey. I believe it was in the mid 80s that it became an 86 proof, and then at some point they just dropped it all the way down. Dropped it all the way down to 80. It's just not the same whiskey it was. It just feels light and watery at that 80 proof. But you have a certain segment of society that's been conditioned to buy it, not even realizing that they've done this to that particular whiskey over the years. I mean, there is a reason why it cost more than, say, Jim Beam. And some will say quality, but I'm going to tell you no. It's never been a higher quality whiskey. The only thing it's ever been is a higher proof whiskey. And now it's not a higher proof whiskey, but it's still about $10 more a bottle than Jim Beam. It just doesn't make sense. But again, it's that certain segment of society that's been conditioned to buy the name rather than quality. Of course, these are the same people that voted for a rapist for president. So anyway, and so as I lament the death of our democracy, I'm just going to have a drink. The death of the complete societal failure. I want to repeat the, I believe it was Strother Martin from Cool Hand Luke. What we have here is failure to communicate. Oh my goodness. I feel like I have to laugh or I'm going to start crying. I wish I was able to come up with a solution for the situation when we're all in now, but I don't know that there is one. I feel like by the end of the next 4 years, the country that we have now will be unrecognizable. The freedoms that we enjoy now will no longer exist. Oh man, that's nice. Unless you're one of the chosen people. Unless you fall in line and kiss the ring, you're in trouble. Unless you're a bigot and hate the same people that he does, you're going to be in trouble. And I'm going to be in some trouble, man. I'm just wondering who he's going to tap to head up the Gestapo. No, they won't call it the Gestapo, but it's going to be the same entity. I was magically transported to a different pub. You see that? How did that happen, Tom? By the magic of television. Anyway, boy, this high bank stuff is great. I had a nice visit at their distillery when I was there in September. I had a nice young bartender, but she was incredibly knowledgeable. We're talking about different cocktails. She was telling me about her creations, and then I was telling her some of mine. And she says, "How long have you been a bartender?" I said, "1.5 years." She said, "No." I said, "Really?" I came to it late in life. So the way you were talking, I thought you'd been a bartender your whole life. In some ways, I have, just not professionally. I've been around beer and liquor my whole life. I've been putting together, I've been mixed. I guess I shouldn't say, I could say cocktails, but highballs would be more accurate because Dad never drank. But hell, I don't know how young I was the first time I mixed him up a Jim Beam and water, which really wasn't hard because Dad just took the glass, filled it up with ice, You pour it in Jim Beam almost to the top, just left about that much, just enough to hit that tap. It's water, just to put a splash of water on top of it. Uh, you probably drank about a 4-ounce drink. Man, this stuff is so gorgeous. Those port wine notes really add just another dimension to what was undoubtedly a great whiskey to start with. I'm gonna set that down for a second, though. Let this beer warm up. I want to pick it up and check the nose. I haven't done anything but pour it yet. Oh my gosh, that nose. A lot of big chocolate, very dark chocolate on the nose. Might even get a hint of coffee. That's really up to you. Sometimes the roasted barley will impart some coffee-like notes. And then remember, this one sat in a few barrels. Let me look at that again. Bourbon, rye, brandy, and rum barrels. Bourbon, rye, brandy, and rum. It's funny. I've had a lot of this beer over the years, and even sometimes the same vintage will taste different. There are times I've had where I felt like the bourbon barrel came out more. There's other times, oh, that's I'm getting that brandy. I guess it just depends. And I think sometimes it depends on how long it's been aged. So I'm really curious. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's amazing. I remember some scuttlebutt at the time when they were first coming out with the MILF here. Of course, it took some heat for the name. That's why they eventually changed it. But a lot of folks thought it was too hot initially and it should be aged a few years. I never thought it was too hot, in all honesty, but I always thought it aged well. This is aged. Oh my gosh! I mean, if it was hot or boozy at any time in its lifespan, that is now gone. Everything has just completely come together in the most harmonious way. Yeah, it's really amazing. In fact, you wouldn't believe this is an 11% beer. It's so easy to drink at this point in its lifespan. Oh. As always, since we're talking about the collapse of society, if anybody watching out there, if you got any questions or comments, put it up there. We can have a discussion. Anybody brave enough to want to be part of this madness, let me know and I can send you the link. I usually send it via messenger, but gosh, that's amazing. That's blowing me away how easy that is to drink. I'm getting a lot of chocolate notes. The raisin, I'm feeling more the chocolate than the raisin, but you do feel some of that dark fruit note in there. Definitely some very, very dark brown sugar because you will feel a little bit of a molasses note. I'm going to set that down, let it warm up just a little more too while I focus on this whiskey. Wow, that's blowing me away. That's amazing. That's just amazing, man. And a lot of vanilla, a lot of caramel going on here. A lighter caramel. Remarkably easy to drink at that 104 proof. A lot of sweetness up front. And I'm wondering if that beer is really bringing out the sugars. I took a drink of the beer and I feel a little bit sweeter than I was earlier. I'm thinking the beer is really making me feel those sugars here now. Man, that's amazing. That's just amazing. Wow. Pick up this beer again for a second. Oh, it's a very cold day here in the Ozarks. I had some stuff I need to do either today or tomorrow, and I chose tomorrow because it's going to be a little bit warmer. Um, there are some things I could do by phone and email, so I took care of that. But well, I do have to get out and visit some folks tomorrow. So, but chose to stay in today. It was cold, dreary. Thought about getting out and meeting a friend. Typically meet some friends on Tuesdays. Man, it's cold today. So I'll get that nonsense done tomorrow. We'll see where I'm at in the grieving process. Right now, it just all feels just absurd. Because I feel like if somebody would have wrote this novel, it would have been thought as unbelievable that this could possibly ever happen. But here we are, living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare. And there is a certain segment of society that's rather happy about it. They're happy that folks are going to lose their freedoms. We got people out there that aren't smart enough to understand the science, so they just want to condemn it all. Our now fearless leader wants to get us out of the WHO. I mean, I swear to God, you could make this shit up. It's just, I mean, if somebody would have wrote this novel, we'd be looking at nobody would be stupid enough to do that. But yeah, here we are. Yeah, apparently somebody was stupid enough to do that. Oh gosh. And again, I'm just with the things happening, the executive orders being signed. I'm really fearful for all my friends and family in the LGBTQ community. This is a scary time for folks. People are going to lose their freedoms, man, and that's what bothers me the most because you have that same segment of society that's happy that people will lose their freedoms, and it just boggles the mind that how can you be so narrow minded? How can you be so bigoted? It just doesn't make any logical sense. But nevertheless, yeah, I feel like I have to laugh about it, or I'm just gonna lose my mind, man. It's my coping mechanism. I have to make a joke out of everything. I've got to find some humor in everything. It's my coping mechanism. I know I'm not the only one that does that, but it's not necessarily normal or even healthy. But it's what gets me through the day. Inappropriate humor, yeah. Oh my gosh, this beer is amazing. Yeah, I didn't realize what year it was. Just reached back and grabbed it. 2018. Damn, I've been hanging on to this one for a minute. You've been holding on to that one a while, Tom. Yeah, I figured what the hell. This was a good day to drink it. Like I said, it's very cold. It's a perfect day for a beer like this to mourn the death of our democracy, our societal collapse. Uh, the day logic and reason died. The day logic and reason died. Gosh, I'm just amazed. This is so beautiful. Now I'm curious after drinking that because last time I, yep, I'll be damned. Yeah, I really feel it now that when I take a drink of that beer and then go to the whiskey. I feel that the beer I can get these big, gorgeous roasted barley notes, that dark chocolate notes I talked about. But then I pick up this whiskey and it really brings out those sugars. I feel those sugars in a great big way. A lot of big caramel notes, certainly a lot of vanilla, like a sweet cream vanilla. But oddly enough, it's also really bringing out the fruit notes. I'm getting these nice dark cherry notes. Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. When everything is going to hell in a handbasket all around you, it's nice to have something good. I got a good beer and good whiskey. Okay. For this particular moment in time, everything is good, man. Tomorrow may be different, but right now, right now, before society completely collapses upon itself, we are kind of in a wait and see pattern, in all honesty, just to see what all he's able to dismantle. I won't say accomplish because not accomplishing a damn thing. He's just tearing shit apart. Uh, oh, I didn't realize I had a message pop up there. Jason, how are you, man? I'm going to post your message. I didn't see that pop up there. My apologies. My apologies for the frivolity. Uh, how you doing, man? If you like to tell me what you're drinking, you can, or not, or as I work on my MILF here, that sounded wrong, Tom. Yeah, so when I came up with this beer, of course, I took some heat for the name, but it does say right under it says MILF, Mother's Imperial Liquid Fantasy. So a little play on words. See what they did there? But they didn't take a lot of heat for it. I guess there were some places that were refusing to carry it because of the name, as one of the reasons. Well, I don't know that to be a fact. From talking to some of the folks that worked there around that timeline, uh, that was one of the factors in changing the name, and also it did offend some. So I just thought it was clever. Take a phrase that folks use to mean one thing, but have it mean something completely different. Uh, anyway, but not everybody's got my sense of humor. Not everybody has your sense of humor, Tom. Yeah, because I can find funny in damn near anything. The absurdity we're currently living in, for one. But boy, I am rather amazed, to be honest with you, how well this beer has aged. I'm not necessarily surprised, um, but a lot of folks that do beer, you got about 5 years, and I've accidentally aged some for even longer than this, and most have done well. I won't tell you the ones that didn't survive, uh, but I got to be honest with you, this is a 2018, and wow. I mean, 7 years. This is a 7-year-old beer, and it is just. I mean, I don't know if it would have been better if I had waited next year to have it, but I feel like it's at the peak right now. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. Any rough edges that this beer may have had at any time during its lifespan is no longer there. Everything is just coming together so perfectly. I'm just blown away how wonderful this beer is. I bet he would. sometimes you just got to let things go. I won't have anything to do with folks that will talk fondly about Nazis that are clearly racist. And I know he is. I'm intentionally not saying his name, but I mean, I don't know how you could know him and not see that those things are true. The correspondence I've had with him over the years, that's why I had to cut ties. Just the blatant bigotry and racism, I just won't be a part of. I mean, he's clearly homophobic. I know he's transphobic. Just the bigotry that man has, I can't be a part of this channel or anything to do with him anymore. But out of respect to you, I'm intentionally not mentioning that person's name. I feel like maybe you had good intentions, but no, I can't do it. I would feel like a hypocrite to have anything to do with that individual. Uh, Man, that beer's insane. Oh. But I swear, every time I take a drink of that beer and then take a drink of the whiskey tastes even sweeter. It's wild. Anyways, I digress. I'm going to try to wrap this up since I've been yapping for just about 30 minutes now. I didn't want to do this one fast, though. The Midnight Cask, a barrel proof, a cask strength blend of straight whiskeys and port wine at 104.4. High Bank Distilling, Columbus, Ohio. Again, another distillery in Columbus I could not recommend highly enough. I had a great visit. They're great products. But I love going to places when they are so knowledgeable, right? When I walk into a brewery, when I walk into a distillery, and they just know their products, they love their products. And every place I've visited in Columbus, Ohio, was that way. The breweries, the distilleries. It was just amazing all the way across the board. But High Bank, if you're ever in that area, they have got a few other locations around that Columbus, Ohio area. But if you're ever in that neck of the woods, I visited the Grandview location. But if you're ever in that neck of the woods, I do recommend them. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom and and I'm also I lost myself for a second, but I found myself. I'm also Tom. I'm also Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, a prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom and all around good guy, Slotch.